What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to Bills HQ, where we talk all things Buffalo Bills football and the NFL. I'm your host, Julian Mott. Welcome back to the channel. Now today we are recapping the final training camp practice. Now today they were talking about how it feels like, oh, if it went by so slow, it feels like it's been a slow burn. It's been quick for me. Training camp started on July 24th. It's already August 11th. This is the final training camp practice. Of course, the season doesn't start on Sunday or anything like that. But we got the first preseason game coming up, guys. So we're excited about that. But yeah, today was the final training camp practice. We did hear from McDermott earlier, who has some good things to say, like always. But let's get right to practice. One of the things that McDermott did say is this was going to be a high intensity practice. Um, and from my understanding, we had a good amount of live sessions, especially for the guys that aren't really going to be playing a whole lot on Saturday, which are most of the starters. So guys like Josh and you know Diggs, Gabe Davis, Micah Hyde, guys like that were they were going at it today, and that's why we had a couple of dust ups, couple more dust ups. We've had a lot of dust ups this training camp, guys, and that's because they want it. Guys really want it, and they're feeling the. I don't want to say they're feeling the pressure, but they know the expectation and they want to meet it, and they know this is the first step to meeting it, and everybody's trying to meet that challenge. Everybody's trying to meet that challenge. So, yeah, again, like I said earlier, McDermott said it's going to be a high intensity practice, and from all accounts, it was. It was a high intensity practice. It was a highly spirited practice. Um, it was the 14th training camp practice. They don't do two a days anymore. This is the 14th practice. It's gone by fast. And the competitive levels were extremely high. Josh Allen also spoke today and just spoke more about guys wanting to win every single rep. One of the big things that Josh said previously is that the positional battles has taken the intensity up a notch. Brandon Bean has spot so much talent in here, and everybody's just trying to win. And like Josh said, they're trying to win every single rep. They don't want to lose any. This is a quote from Josh. Guys get heated when that doesn't happen, or when it does happen for the other guy, Allen said. So I definitely think it's just a lot of testosterone and competitive juices flowing. I definitely think it's a good problem to have. Again, guys being very competitive and wearing their heart on their sleeve. I love it personally. I do, because what do you think? We had dust ups between the little dust up between Micah Hyde and Gabe Davis, which was little. It was a decent sized dust up between Ed Oliver and Deion Dawkins. I mean, what do you think? Those guys aren't going to be good friends, teammates anymore? I'm like, no. Guys they're going hard. They're trying to win. Like I said earlier, the guys that aren't really going to be playing on Saturday, which is a majority of the starters, I'm sure. A lot of those guys had went live today for like the first time, like bringing people to the ground and everything. So it was. I keep saying it. And I'm gonna keep saying it was high intensity, highly spirited, high intensity, highly spirited, and I love it. I heard a guy. I heard Joe Marino the other day say he went to the Panthers practice, and the intensity wasn't high, and it was more of a lackadaisical practice. I don't want to be hearing that. I would hate to hear that. I mean, Matt Rule is already on his way out. I don't think they're going to have a good season, which means that he's going to be fired. I don't think they're going to have a good season, which means he's going to be fired. This is his last year because they're not going to be good. And if they're not good, he's getting fired. And to hear that they're having a lackadaisical practices, it's really disappointing. I wouldn't want to hear that if I'm a fan of their team. So for me to hear that McDermott has to step in and calm guys down because they're too highly spirited, they're being a little bit too competitive. I love to hear it because they're not always going to be going against their teammates, guys. They got some opponents they're going to be going up against soon. So yeah, I loved it. You love to hear it. You love to hear it. Um, Now the biggest skirmish of camp. They're saying this is the biggest skirmish of camp. Period. And there's been a lot of skirmishes. But they're saying the biggest skirmish happened near the end of practice on Thursday today. I'm recording this today. I don't know. Maybe you're watching it tomorrow. Um, Friday or some other time. Which thanks for watching. Hit that like, subscribe. We do all Buffalo Bills content. Little plug there. Sorry, little plug there. But yeah, the biggest skirmish actually happened on Thursday's practice, the final practice of training camp, where it looks like our guy Ed Oliver actually showed off his wrestling skills, with what Matt Perino pictured as a perfect double leg takedown. Now he's saying double leg takedown. I don't know if y'all from the hood, y'all know that little takedown where you pull your pants up, and you grab him from the waist and you pull him down. That's what I'm picturing in my mind that he did. Matt explained it real white. He explained it real white. He dropped him. Ed Oliver, he dropped he dropped Deion Dawkins. Um, at the tail end of play. It was during team drills. Jordan Phillips has Jordan Phillips been involved in every single skirmish in camp? I know he hasn't, but it just seems like it. I mean, the man is all over the place. You love to hear it. He is in shape. He is engaged. He is ready to go. But Jordan Phillips was also involved in the skirmish. Uh, so after practice ended, Phillips walked over, to a bunch of the offensive linemen, slapped him up. Everything was all good. Everything is always all good after these little skirmishes at camp because everybody knows what this is about. This is about being the best that you can be. This is about trying to win every rep. You're trying to be. This is important. Do you think every team is doing this? I'd like to think so. But when I hear things like the Panthers are having a lackadaisical practice, the Panthers? They can't afford to have lackadaisical practices. So when I hear things like that, I want to think that every single team is doing it like we are, but I don't think they are. I don't think every team values every single rep like we do, values winning like we do. And it is, I want to cuss. I try not to, it is dang good to hear. Almost got me. Almost got me. So, um, camp's over. Camp is over. And yeah, the Bills can definitely turn their sights to a different opponent to hit, which I'm sure they will be excited about. um, yeah, let's get into some actual football stuff. So, yeah, I actually guess we're going to be talking a little bit about a skirmish, but Micah Hyde. Micah Hyde making Micah Hyde plays. I mean, what do you expect? Micah Hyde is ball hawking like Micah Hyde always does. It's one of those things where it's something that you sometimes don't even want to bring up just because, like, what do you expect? People aren't surprised about it, but Micah Hyde is being doing Micah Hyde things in ball hawking. There was a play at practice. This comes from our guy Matt Perino. There was a play at practice where it looks like Gabriel Davis actually was going out for a route, and Kyer Elam had good coverage in the route. And Elam apparently had a good day amongst a I'm trying to think of the right word to say. I don't want to say up and down. It's I also don't want to say challenging either. Amongst the challenging camp, let's say challenging. Amongst the challenging camp, Elam also had a good day. Um, but Elam had great coverage, I guess, on this play where Gabe was going out on a route. Gabe got a little bit of separation, which allowed Josh to be able to rifle a throw to him. It bounced off of Gabe's shoulder pads, and Hyde Hyde slid under and made the interception. You can imagine it, right? Hyde just sliding in. um, yeah, it made the interception. He got up, ran up the sideline. Gabe Davis, let me call him Gabe. I'm so used to calling him Gabriel. When this man came out, I keep going on tangents. When this man came out, when he was driving and said, I want to be called Gabriel, I got used to calling him Gabriel because that's what he said his mama called him. So now it's Gabe, guys. It's Gabe. His people told him Gabe is better, so that's what we'll address him as. Let's see. Gabe Davis. But yeah, yeah. So sprinting down the sideline. Gabe chased him down, gave him a little shoulder shot. I'm trying to get clarity on what happened next, but it looks like Micah actually threw the ball at his head. Hyde then turned back towards Davis and fired a throw at the young receiver that hit him in the helmet, threw the ball right at his head. Hyde talked about it later, just said just a competitive play. Um, and Hyde also had this to say. We got to see these guys every day. Especially you got guys like Little Dirty, Isaiah McKenzie, and Gabby, Gabby Davis, which I guess is the new nickname for Gabe, and Stephon Diggs. The receivers, they just love to talk smack, Hyde said. It's an everyday thing. And we know that going into the season, if they beat us in training camp, they're going to continue to talk about that. So we can't let it happen. We need to win every single rep, is what he's saying. Every rep, every single one is so important. And the way that McDermott runs everything, the consistency. What does Sal refer to him as? Mr. C. He's Mr. Consistency. Not anybody is just valuing every single rep like they are. They know what the expectation is, they know what the goal is, and they know what they need to do to accomplish it. So competitive. It is extremely competitive. Almost every single guy is an alpha. Almost every single guy. Kyer Elam, aggressive. This man is aggressive. I'm a little nervous. Guys, we have to be patient with Kyer. He's going to have holding calls. We heard that the emphasis this year for the officials is going to be illegal contact, which is making contact with a receiver after 5 yards while the quarterback's in the pocket. That's going to be a point of emphasis. I wish I actually had the chart. There was a chart actually. It went way down last year, while being up pretty high in 2020. Which guys, that what that means is the less grabby you can get, the more separations receivers are going to be able to get. So, I heard Steve Tasker say all that means to me is that we're going to have a couple guys throw for 5,000 yards this year, two or three guys, which I agree with, which I definitely agree with. But Elam was super aggressive in coverage today, as he has been all of training camp, which it's gonna get him in trouble a few times. It's going to, and we have to be patient. But I love it. That's not what Levi Wallace offered us. He didn't offer us that aggressiveness, that high end athleticism. Um, I think a lot of the other things Levi was really offered, that work ethic, that knowledge of the game. Obviously, Kyer is going to have to work up to the knowledge of the game that Levi was able to acquire over his what 5 years was he here for 5 years, which is really amazing for Levi. But yeah, man. Elam can be sticky. Sometimes he could be grabby, but he could be sticky. And he was aggressive in coverage again today. He may have had a penalty at one point. They're saying, you know, but yeah, that play there was to complete the team portion of drills actually. Um, my boy. this is my boy. I'm a Devin Singletary fan. I am a Devin Singletary fanboy. That is my man. I've had him in fantasy the last 2 years. To me, and you guys may disagree, I don't care. To me, he offers a certain type of fantasy floor. You start Devin Singletary, you know you're at least getting 6 points. You know you're at least getting 6 points, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, I started him multiple times. He's had great production, but our guy Devin's looking good. Devin is he's looking solid. He is looking explosive. And that's the report today. Um, Singletary had one of the most explosive plays of the day when he busted a run through the right side in between a block by Questenberry and Bates. Um, yeah, it's now we haven't heard a whole lot from Singletary this camp, right? I went to the red and white scrimmage and not a whole lot of Singletary. And I think that has more to do with the fact that he's established. I go back to, I always have to make about me. I go back to when I was, in eighth grade, about to be on JV basketball. The final day of tryouts, I'm sitting on the sideline. I'm not scrimmaging at all. Why am I not scrimmaging? I mean, I'm not even worth the look. I mean, come to find out, you don't need to be scrimmaging. But you already made the team. And I think that's a little bit of what's going on with Devin Singletary. Like, we don't need to see a whole lot of you. We know what you're about. We know what you offer to this offense. You're the guy right now. And every opportunity they've given him in training camp, he's shown that he's going to be the guy, at least for the time being. I mean, we'll see how James Cook looks, and Zach Moss is looking explosive, but Devin Singletary, I think, is going to be a guy. And he's had a few big time runs, and he looks ready to go by all accounts. The run he had today went for about 40 yards, and then, by the time it ended, he had defensive backs chasing after him, which is what we want to see. We want defensive backs seeing Devin Singletary's butt. Yeah. um, yeah, we've heard some great things about McKenzie all camp. And since Jamison Crowder's been back, we're starting to hear some good things about Jamison Crowder as well, which is really cool. Um, yeah, yeah. So they both had a couple big plays today. Um, I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of them on Saturday. um, but McKenzie had a touchdown today, which is amazing. Jamison Crowder showed off his run after catch ability today. He took what was a 10-yard pass, took it over 50 yards for a touchdown. That's what we want to see. That is what Cole Beasley did not offer to us. The guy that caught the ball and went down, which was extremely valuable. Cole was extremely valuable, but I think if we could have somebody that's understanding of zones and knows where to be in what situations and knows how to read coverages, which it seems like Jameson does, and offers a bit more of that run after catch ability, is a bit younger, is able to stay healthy a bit more consistently, even though Cole never missed games, but he was still always hurt and always trying to play through something, which ended up hurting his already hindered athleticism. So, and that may be a problem with Jamison Crowder, who's the last couple of years has been hurt. But by all accounts, the skill set that Jamison Crowder offers really is going to be able to diversify our offense, which I think is amazing. I think it's really nice. Um, yeah. Apparently, Josh and Steph had a rough day. We won't even touch that a whole lot. Who cares? Um, you know, reports are whether the throw wasn't right on spot or Diggs just wasn't able to haul it in or whatever. You have days like that. You just hope that they come and practice more often than not. Uh, yeah. Finally, Demar. Damar Hamlin, I love me some Damar Hamlin. Can I just say? Now it all goes back to Madden. Damar Hamlin is my Madden user. Um, for Madden 2021, on advice from my brother, I sub out Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano and put in my boys Damar Hamlin and Jaquan Johnson. Get some speed and that's all out there on the ball and whatever. So that I love Damar Hamlin. Dates back to Madden. But no, Damar has had a nice camp, especially with the injuries to Hyde and Poyer. He's actually had an opportunity. These safeties don't get opportunities. They just don't. Jaquan Johnson and Damar Hamlin and Josh Thomas and don't have opportunity because Hyde and Poyer are always on the field. I mean, Jaquan Johnson starts one game last year against the Texans because Poyer's out and he has an interception, and they win 40-0. Shutout. Um, so some of these guys just need opportunity with the way that the Bills are able to develop guys. I mean, guys like Taron Johnson, or what if there was what if there was already a Taron Johnson here when Taron Johnson showed up? Would Taron Johnson be Taron Johnson? You know what I mean? Like some of these guys just don't have opportunity. And you can develop and develop and develop up to a certain point, but in order to when you have to be on the field in order to take it to the next level. So we just don't know what the next level is for a lot of these safeties because they have not been on the field, which is a good thing. It's a good and a bad thing. It's a good and a bad thing, but overall it's a good thing because we have two all pro safeties, best safety tandem in the league, and that's not going anywhere. But Damar Hamlin had a great camp. His we're hearing that his change of direction and his sideline to sideline ability um is really showing. The athleticism that a lot of draft pundits didn't know that he had coming out is showing. And he's doing things to limit Josh, in that arm. You're talking about the strongest arm in the league. It's got to be the fastest. Although it's got to be the fastest ball from when he throws it to when it gets there, which means that the margin of error is smaller, and you have to be an athlete, man. You have to be a crazy good athlete to compete with these guys, man. And it seems like Demar is that guy. Uh, Now, finally, and most importantly, really, most importantly, because the main thing for camp for this team was just getting by healthy. The only bad things could have came from this camp. Only bad things. the you know th- yeah, the Bills had a great camp. It seems like if people came out saying, "Oh, the Bills had a questionable camp," you know, but everybody's healthy, would that change that much in terms of the betting lines and things like that? No. Now, if Von Miller goes down, or Josh goes down, or somebody goes down, that's going to change something. So the last thing is just the health. The Bills are getting healthy. They're probably one of the more healthy teams in the league at this point. Defensive tackle Eli Anku, who we talked about on the first day of training camp, returned to practice after missing the past few weeks. Um, Tavon Austin and Tyrell Dawson started practicing, but whatever, they'll be back. Jordan Poyer is getting better and better and better. The whole offensive line has been out there and getting reps together. Dawkins, Saffold, Morse, Bates, and Spencer Brown. They've all been out there and they've been peppering the guys too, like Questenberry and Tommy Doyle and Mance and all those guys. They've been peppered in, but the starting lineup that we think we're gonna have has been out there and working together. So yeah, going into Saturday, we should be quite healthy. That was practice today. It seemed to be very intense. I mean, it's always interesting to me the process or the path that the Bills decide to take leading up to these things. Like, are they going to rest this day, or are they going to go hard this day? Are they going to be in pads this day? Are they not going to be in pads this day? Or are they going to have a walkthrough this day? Like, all that stuff is super interesting to me, especially because the Bills have been one of the most healthy teams in the league the last 3 or 4 years. One of the most healthy teams in the league. So, watching what they decide to do and how they decide to ramp up or, ramp down their guys, I think it's cool because they've been healthy. So they decided to go hard today. It was a high intensity practice. They'll be off tomorrow, and we will be into Saturday. I'm so excited. I was saying earlier, I am so happy to watch almost every player. 1 through like 75, let's say. We all think we know every single guy on this 90-man roster right now. We don't. I went to the practice. Who is Neil Pau? I ain't never heard of no Neil Pau until the other day. There's a handful of guys who nobody's ever heard of in their life. So let's say 1 through 75. 15 guys we'll give about that. I have no idea who they are, and I have no interest in watching them. So yeah, super exciting. It should be fun. The Bills also haven't lost in the preseason. So that's really interesting. Kind of like the Ravens. I think it's a testament to just how deep their roster is. I mean, they've had how many guys poached from the practice squad last year? That just speaks to how strong the roster is. Guys, good players can't make this roster. Like, what are you gonna do with guys like Christian Benford? He's definitely got to make the roster. He's definitely got to make the roster. What do you do with Isaiah Hodgins? Like these guys that I think like these guys that would definitely be on another roster that are on the fringe. Benford's a lock from what we're hearing. He's been taking first team reps. But a guy like Hodgins, some of these draft picks that maybe just need an opportunity. So we'll see. That'll do it for me today. Always a pleasure with you guys talking Buffalo Bills football. Such an honor. Um, I don't even know. I know some people are watching these, but not a whole lot. So appreciate you guys. Um, yeah, we'll see if we have some post game or pre-game stuff for the Colts. Keep it locked into the channel. Like if you liked the video, dislike if you didn't like it, that's all right. That'll just push me to be better. Subscribe if you like this kind of content or if you just like spending time with me. We talk all things Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna turn the head around. All things Buffalo Bills football and the NFL. I'm your host, Julian Mott. This is Bills HQ. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.